So we're going to be looking at the major spreads in this one. We're going to be using Osprey as the sort of base and then compare it relative to Osprey. So what's a spread, first of all? A spread is more than just the peanut butter and jam that you put on your toast, although that's very good. I like peanut butter and jam. If you like it, let me know as well, or what kind of spread you put on your toast. But it's basically the difference between the bid and the ask price, what traders are willing to purchase, buy an asset, and what traders are willing to sell that asset at. And whatever the difference is, that's the spread. And the idea is you want the spread closer to zero as possible. Now, what affects a spread? Multiple things can affect a spread. It could be market conditions, whether a major news event is coming out or has come out, the time of day. And right now, this is the Asian session, so it's really quiet, very stable conditions. So the spread gets affected by that as well. Depends on the liquidity. Who the liquidity providers are for each broker. Each broker has obviously different spreads because they go through different providers, liquidity providers who hold that asset, who hold those assets and sell them or buy them from clients who trade them. So that's kind of like the backstory, but most importantly, you want to look for tight spreads, brokers that offer really close to zero spreads as possible. That would affect, so the type of traders that care for spreads are probably shorter time frame traders who trade on the 5-minute chart, lower time frames, traders who are looking for maybe 10 pip profits, who count their profits in pips. And if they're looking for like 10 pip profits, then if they're going with a 1 pip spread, that's 1 pip that you have to pay to your broker. If you can save that and pay less of that, that's big. So those type of traders would be keen on that. Longer time frame traders on like maybe the 4-hour daily, maybe are not so much concerned about spreads, but obviously the tighter the spread, the better. You're just paying less to your broker, right? You want to save money at the end of the day. So if we look at Osprey right here, you probably see this, you've probably been looking at this already for a while now, but their spreads are fairly decent, around 1 pip, under 1 pip. So fairly standard. The standard is around 1 pip for the most part among most pairs. These guys are an ECN type trader, so that's their condition. They have quite a few liquidity providers that they use, and excuse me. Yeah, so these are the spreads they have, 1 pip. Next up, we're going to be looking at eToro. eToro has been around for some time, their method or their trading style is hard to determine. They're not really clear on what type of execution model they use, but as you can see from their spreads, they look fixed. They offer fixed spreads, 1 pip, 2 pip, 1.5. So fairly, it's a little bit on the higher side, but roughly around 1 pip if you're trading the majors. There's your idea there with eToro. And how you get there is you go to trading, fees, and then you scroll on over to CFD. So it's a little bit different. It's not currencies, it'd be CFDs. CFDs are contract for difference, meaning that they're sort of tools or instruments that you can trade long and short on assets, right? So that's what currencies are. Currencies allow you to go long or short, right? So next up we're going to be looking at is AvaTrade. AvaTrade offers fixed spreads. The way you get there is you hover over to trading info, forex pairs. You can click on either pairs or view all, and it'll take you to their page. So their spreads are fixed. They do not change. So as you can see, Euro USD 0.9, pound 1.5, 1 for yen, 2 for cats, a little bit higher, 1.1, 1.8, so around 2, between like 1 and 2 pips, so it's slightly on the higher end. They don't charge any commission, so that's kind of where their pricing comes in. They make up for that by putting in their spread. So that's the other thing too. Spreads, commission, you're going to be paying almost the same amount to the broker at the end of the day. So it's, obviously you want to go for whatever's the least amount, but that's why this video is up here. So another of the majors is Thor. So Thor is very similar to Osprey in terms of spreads. You can see very close to around 1. So basically the same. They're also an ECN type broker. They use ECN trading execution. and that's their model. In terms of commission, very similar to Osprey, but in terms of spread, yeah, very similar, very kind of decent sort of industry standard. Next, we're going to be looking at is OspreyFX. How you get there is through FX trading, spreads and conditions. Click on that and you'll come to their page. They mostly offer majors, and you can see from their spreads it's around 1, 1.2, 0.8, 1, 1.8. A bit on the higher side. Indus sort of standard, but closer to AvaTrade, a bit on the higher end of spreads. They do offer no swaps, so you don't pay any swap, meaning you don't pay overnight fees for holding onto positions. And looks like they kind of make up for that pricing into their spread, so they kind of embed that on there. So it's a little bit higher than Osprey. In fact, when it comes to spreads, slightly bit higher, not too much, but maybe like maybe 0.5 at most. So about like half a pip at most higher on average than Osprey. So yeah. Next up is FX View. FX View is, they also operate on an ECN type trading. So how you get there is through trading and then our trading conditions. And then I'll take you to this page here. Now the way to measure this is a little bit different. You kind of have to do a bit of work, some sort of math to figure it out. But from looking at this, it's 0.8718, 0.8719. So that's pretty tight. That looks like about a 0.1 pip spread, which is very, very tight. Actually, it's probably one of the best in terms of the majors among a lot of these brokers. 0.2, 0.1, 0.1. So it looks like they have a lot of liquidity providers. Maybe they're using good conditions. Who knows what it is, but they offer very tight, probably the tightest spreads out of all in this list. Way tighter than Osprey. Their commission that they charge is $1 per lot, and I think that is round turns. So both buying and selling, it's $1, $1 lot. So keep that in mind. So these guys offer some really tight spreads, really good competitive spreads. I would put this high up on the list of tight spreads, in my opinion, with the majors. Next up, we got FP Markets. Okay, so how you get there is through trading, pricing, and then spreads. And I'll take you here. They don't show live spreads. I don't know if they're fixed or not. It shows average. These are average spreads. So I think they're floating spreads. And yeah, from the looks of it, it's slightly on the higher end as well. This is for the standard account. You pay no commission for this, but that pricing is embedded into their spreads. Whereas if you go with the raw ECN, paying no commission, these are sort of the average spreads. So sorry, if you pay a commission. If you pay a commission, then these are their average spreads. So it kind of works out to be the same in the end. But in terms of spread here, so about 1 euros USD is around also 1. So yeah, fairly the same as AvaTrade, a little bit on the higher end in terms of benchmark relative to Osprey, so higher than Osprey. So in terms of the majors, compared to Osprey, FX View is definitely at the top with really tight spreads compared to the commission that you're paying, and that's an ECN account. So very tight spreads. Next, Osprey is pretty good. Osprey and Thor, I would rank them basically the same. They're fairly tight as well in terms of the majors, and they're pretty good. Next is I'll probably rank Okta as up there as well. The fact that you don't pay any swaps could be beneficial if you're long term, if you hold trades overnight. Their spread is a little bit higher, but it's all right. Then I'll probably rank AvaTrade, fixed spreads, and they're slightly competitive. They're a bit competitive. They're good. And then after that, I'll probably put FP Markets at the end, a little bit higher, and kind of maybe like group these three, eToro, Ava, and FP Markets. So kind of around the same ballpark figure. So anyways, that's your idea of major spreads.